All right, you're watching GeekCast. This is a continuation of the after show. This is the end of the year, beginning of the year, depending on when you're watching it. And we're talking about networks, and Phoenix Sparks, you came up with a really good one. Corey said Peacock could step up and reign supreme. I was wondering if MTV could move their money around. And you said Cartoon Network, which, you know what? I agree, Phoenix. Cartoon Network,
yes.
If they were to go with some original content, because that's the thing, like, Disney's winning. Yes, they have a catalog. So in between watching the new stuff, I'll check out Pinocchio, I'll check out whatever like that. But you're really going for that new thing. And this is where Netflix is investing a lot of their money. Peacock is investing money. They are investing money. Who else is winning? That's really putting money forward. Amazon they're spending some real dollars. Too much in few production places. That's another conversation. And you said Cartoon Network. How realistic is that? And what would they have to give you as a fan to be satisfied?
I think they just have to keep coming up with new shows that are original ideas.
I disagree.
Yeah?
As much as I love Cartoon Network and I love when they came out with Toonami, people aren't watching cartoons like that anymore. Like, even with Disney Plus, people are not watching Star Wars cartoons, not at least the target audience. You have younger adults and us who are very familiar with Star Wars watching it, but as far as younger kids, I haven't seen people watch new cartoons. It's YouTube.
Wow.
And the other apps and technology, because that's what's taking up all their time. They're not sitting down watching cartoons like we used to. They're being innovated with Minecraft and STEM and computers. I haven't seen the younger generation watch cartoons in a few years now.
Wow. That's interesting. I haven't heard that. Well, I guess more so anime, and you know, kids usually follow the preteens, and the preteens follow the teenagers follow people in their 20s. That's usually, it's kind of like and then after that it kind of branches depending on how old you are and what you're into. But it's usually a copy game. So I'm hearing kids that are like between 8 and 11 watching anime that they should not be watching because of all the violence and all the other stuff, but they like it. But you're right. There is a dip. There is a dip in general animation for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, like with Cartoon Network, there's no real original content. They're either rebranching the whole series like they do with Thundercats or Teen Titans. And the original Teen Titans that we had when we grew up, it was phenomenal. The story was on point. The fight scenes were epic. It wasn't like this show where it's like, oh, I am Robin. I'm going to throw a boomerang at you. And I look like a little punchy little character. But other than that...
Right. Well, I mean, that was definitely a style choice. That's interesting. And they when they created that, they obviously were going after a younger audience, but using the sarcasm for us. But then the writers are probably our age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of probably where that comes from too. I always thought that show was weird. It's a little entertaining, but I can't see watching seasons and seasons of it. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
And you wouldn't blame a child for not watching that, because after a while it makes me feel dumb.
Well, I can only see children watching it, actually.
No, you even got kids that don't want to watch it because it makes them feel dumb.
I haven't heard that, but...
a couple of brain cells.
Have you heard the same thing, or no?
To me?
You're on Phoenix. Because this is the first time hearing that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have kids, so I mean, I don't know, like...
We all don't have kids, but from talking to kids or talking to somebody from Comic-Con and we discuss certain shows, they say, yeah, some of the shows that they have or rehash or something, it makes them feel like they lost a couple of brain cells.
Well,
like,
also, see, that doesn't count because if you go to Comic-Con, you're not 7. You know what I mean?
Right,
When you say
exactly.
kid, so that doesn't,
The big thing right now is Roblox, Minecraft, and anime. I haven't heard any type of cartoon. I mean, for little kids, you have Cocomelon and Paw Patrol, but outside of the toddler age, there's, like I said, video games and YouTube. So it goes from educational learning to computers and tech to anime and young adult series and Netflix. There's no real space for animated cartoons.
There's a lot of
there hasn't been a new animated cartoon in a while.
Right. There's a lot of kid stuff that just doesn't
Isn't garnered towards kids.
right, and kids aren't into like they used to. Even like puppets. Kids aren't into puppets like they used to be. It's just they're not interested. Like
Do you think
unless
it's
they're
because-
really little.
Like, why do you think that is?
I think because we've placed such a huge gamble in technology and we're trying to foster the younger generation to get into STEM programs and to push AI. So instead of enjoying their youthfulness, like, yeah, you can play, but how about you play with technology?
Right.
Let's see what you can come up with so that way you can create a better future. So
Interesting.
that's what I see happening.
Okay.
I would, I take that as, and Dayveonne mentioned this before, everything is real, everything is gritty, everything is real, everything is gritty. So we want everything to be so real and gritty that it's starting to going down to the kids. So the kids want everything real and gritty, even the games. It's got to be as realistic as possible. Why? Why does it have to be real? Like, we were happy with 8-bit and 24-bit and 64-bit video games. Why does everything, so I think the kids are pretty much emulating that, where they want everything so real that they don't even imagine everything. They don't fill in the gaps that we mentally filled in on imagination.
Well, they still have an imagination. That's why they're playing with STEM and coding and stuff like that. But when we introduce like those 8-bit games like Sega Genesis or Nintendo Switch, if it doesn't have good graphics, because that's not what they're seeing with the technology right now, it feels like a step back. So that's why you have to keep pushing and elevating. Like, we don't need anything past 1080p, but we're trying to make everything as realistic as possible because that's where we're at with our technology right now.
But just because we're there, why is it, you know what I mean? Like, think about a little bit outside of the box, right? Look at the kids, right? When's the last time you saw a 10-year-old with action figures? They're already into gaming. You like, you know what I mean? Like, if you see, you could call them dolls, or like Transformers and different things and Power Rangers, you would see an older version of a child playing with those type of things. I mean, you would arguably, you'd see people with teenagers like, hey, what are you still doing playing with toys? Hey, that's my toy, right? But now you only see 5 and 6-year-olds with those kind of toys. By the time they're 8, they're like, I don't do toys anymore. I want games. If they do buy anything, it's because the 2 older generations before them are like, oh, buy this because it could be worth money. Like this gentleman behind you buys a whole bunch of stuff, but it's to stay in the box, not really to play with.
Somewhat, but I feel like society of the time dictates what we teach children. So if you think about like the 50s and 60s, everything was more geared to how to take care of family. That's why you had dolls and things to actually take care of. When we got into the 80s, we were more industrialized. So we have, action figures and tools and stuff to use with our hands, which is why people
Corey,
now instead get a trade.
Hold on, Corey. You can't say that BS to a history nerd. Stop it.
What?
You had trade toys 1,000 years ago. Kids had knights and blacksmiths in the Dark Ages as toys. But that's nothing new.
Right. And it's a reflection of the society around them, right? So now if we're in a technology age, and that's why we have like SAN or coding and STEM cells, like everything has to do with some form of technology. And we're instilling that in the kids right now to think about what they can do with technology. So not having a wild, fantastical imagination, they're having a fantastical imagination in AI and other types of tech.
I digress. I see where you're going with it. I bow to Corey. Hell, sorry. I see where you're going with it. But is it us pushing that on them, or that's something that they want?
No, that's us pushing that on them.
Okay.
I don't know. I think
That's
it's
what depends on
both,
parents,
right?
too. Okay. Yeah,
It's a little both. It's a little us pushing it on them, and it's a little of, how many kids would play video games all day and all night if you let them.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Let them.
Right? So it's a little bit of what they want to do, and then also, parents trying to push things. My kids still like Pokemon. Girls still play with little dress-up dolls and stuff. So
up to what age, though?
Completely different. What?
Up to what age have you seen that? Because what I'm seeing is they're doing
10.
it a lot younger. Oh, you've seen up to 10? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people reject those type of things. Like they don't want to instill, hey, you're a girl, so you play with dolls. Like everyone's trying to dictate the child to however they want to raise themselves, which I think is weird, but you still have to instill some type of value and some direction. So you go with the child. You don't let the child lead. So it's like
This is it right here.
That's true, or is that just an ideology that's pushed on mainstream media?
It's all over the place, so I don't know. Depending on what book you read, depending on what what video you watch, or who you're getting your parenting tips from, it could vary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
do you think technology has taken the place of toys of imagination?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why, I'm seeing a lot of kids with mobile phones. I remember maybe 15 years ago, it was a big or even maybe 10 years ago, it was a big conversation. Should children have smartphones? Should they have social media? Should they have, and this was years ago, that was like a huge thing. Now it's almost commonplace where these little kids have TikTok and Instagram. And it's really weird when a kid follows you on social media. I find it very, very weird. Very, very weird.
Because they're not being imaginative. They're just watching and following.
Passive, right? It's a passive thing. So I find like unless they're getting to the point to create a game, yes, that has its own math and its engineering and its science. But even then, it's just not the same when kids are creating worlds and playing, and I don't see kids in the street running around and playing cops and robbers and playing Super Friends or superheroes or whatever, or
You date yourself with Super Friends.
the Avengers. Actually, I just saw something that was dope. Cripple Avengers. You don't know about that, Corey, now do you?
No,
All right.
No, tell us,
So
what is
until
that?
you know something, Corey, none of your slick talk, Corey. Dayveonne warned me about your slick talk, Corey.
I
don't know. I mean, Dayveonne, do you think by the end of 2022, do you think anything will change in reference to children, technology, and just our views in reference to kids and them being kids? Or think things will pretty much stay the same?
I think you have to define what being a kid is nowadays, because people are saying kids are the most innovative, and that's why they like Minecraft, because they can create these worlds, like you were saying. They're doing that in the digital age. So I think we're going to see more toys and more advancements in tech for kid age.
Now you know, because both of you wear glasses and bald, you have to be careful. I did ask Dayveonne. Now they're gonna think you're Dayveonne.
I thought you said Corey.
The Dayveonne. So Dayveonne, what do you think? They are different people.
Since I already answered, I might as well just be Dayveonne for the rest of the show.
Yeah. What do you think, Dayveonne?
All right, let me try to basically mimic Corey.
What do you mean I'm Dayveonne?
I'm Corey, so...
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Corey speaks in the third person? This is so weird for Corey.
How did I end up on this show?
It's your show.
He's gonna start using the royal we. We don't like that.
What we're gonna have Phoenix turn into Michael and Michael turn into Phoenix.
I could be a Phoenix Sparks.
Great.
If I show up one show with a blonde wig, I'm Phoenix Sparks.
But you already did have long blonde hair.
We'll talk. I kind of want to see it, to be honest.
Oh man.
Baseball.
Yeah, but either or, Phoenix or Dayveonne. But what do you guys think? You think any? Because that's a very interesting thing Corey said about, well, are we going to redefine what it is to be a kid?
You know what? Yes, yeah, because it's getting to that age where everything evolves. The kid's going to evolve. We're going to evolve. We're going to basically be interested in new things, just the same as children are going to be interested in something that's up and coming, new. Just like you were saying, Michael, the cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it first started.
Mm-hmm.
Then it leads to other things. Next thing you know, it's going to be VR. Kids ain't going to get off the VR. Learning acts like kids going to learn different ways, educate themselves through VR. So it's just a matter of time. It's just in the starting phases.
I think Phoenix, because you're the tech whiz on the crew. So what's your thoughts?
I mean, I was thinking more along the lines of these kids are growing up with more advanced technology than we grew up with, and they are going to become teenagers pretty soon and going to challenge maybe some of the ways that we are living, and because it's so natural to be rebellious in those years, right? So I think we're going to see some really interesting ideas and movements, right? So I think that's one way that things are going to change. I don't know. I do feel kids grow up so much faster. They're a lot more mature at a younger age, so.
Wow. The future is now. It's and this is crazy because, like, I'm sure during the Industrial Revolution, people had similar conversations. You don't have to work from dusk till dawn anymore. There are factories now, and technology has always played a role. Oh my goodness, they have the wheel. You don't have to carry everything on your back. You can have a cart. What's a cart? Oh, you got to see this cart thing. It's going to be amazing. Like, you know, so, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The demands are gonna be different. Well, elephant in the room. We're in a pandemic, right? Still going on. It obviously has affected the movie industry, how they do things, how often they do things. They've been backlogged of all their movies and things that are supposed to be released. The beginning of Batman, which is going to be super interesting. Probably starting the new year, we'll talk about that. I do like the changes. Like for instance, the bat signal is now going to be, instead of Commissioner Gordon, no, that's Batman putting it out saying, I'm coming, you better look out. That makes a lot more sense, actually, than the Commissioner Gordon calling him. So these little things are changing and stuff. But anyway, back to the pandemic. Do you feel that this is just something we have to live with for the rest of our lives, is never going away? And how is this going to affect geekdom? And in which way will it affect it?
I Like, I really feel as though this is going to be a pretty much a flu, like the way they made the flu. We
Who
can't
made the
get
flu?
rid of it.
Who made the
but
flu?
it's
Who made the
pretty-
flu, Dayveonne?
Oh, I let that cat out.
He said they made it.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy.
I let the cat out.
Stop it.
It's made in a lab in China.
Yeah.
In China.
All right, we're going there.
We're not going there.
No,
Look, come
no,
back.
really.
So you think it's going to be more like the flu, something that's just seasonal? So what do you think, Phoenix, as far as COVID? What's your take?
Agree with that. Additionally, the impacts are, I think, permanent in terms of we all had a lot of stress from the pandemic. We all had a lot of change. We learned to work differently. We learned to go about the world differently altogether. So I think the effects of that are going to be permanent, and I don't think they're going to go away, but going to be a part of the evolution of society, right? Because we're learning we can work remote, and it is helping the work-life balance, and but also that collective consciousness, like just being a lot more aware of how we're all connected and how our actions affect others. So, yeah, I think that's permanent.
And Corey?
I agree with everything Phoenix said, but I also think of the element of we're going to somehow become self-sustainable. So a lot of people are becoming expats and like seeing the world and living in like tiny houses, trying to make their footprints a lot smaller, live on their own in their own land, and basically live with as little technology as possible, even though they're surrounded with technology to keep them alive. It's going to be a weird balance. So,
And do you think that major shift will happen in 2022? Or just over the decade?
I think before 2025, where that big shift is going to happen.
Okay. All right, so...
I think we'll see like tech houses, like community tech houses, instead of maybe everyone having an Oculus at their house, like a recreational center for kids. I don't know.
Well, they already have so the movement of tiny houses is growing, and there's a bunch of tiny houses already in like Norway and stuff like that, where you have like this small cubicle and you have a comfortable living space. But if it's movable, people are buying up these old vehicles, putting in solar power batteries, high-end electronics such as smart dishwashers and interconnected lights, and basically a very tiny Google Home where you can control everything in your tiny house with your phone or app. So it's being condensed, but they're also living off the grid. So it's going to be a bigger movement.
It's going to be a real movement. All right, and then Geekdom, how does all this, do you feel that, or should I say, in what way do you feel that within 2022, all this pandemic stuff will affect geekdom? Every aspect of the geek community, the GEEKCASTER world, the GEEKCASTER reverse.
Well, I would say you're going to have a lot more, what you call it, those people that likes to be by themselves.
Hermits.
Smart.
Introverts.
Introverts, yeah. I really think during the pandemic, I think a lot of people became introverts
Okay.
more than extroverts.
Okay.
I don't know. I think people just tolerate it, but like you said, as soon as outside opened up, everybody was outside. So I don't see a lot of people being introverts.
Yeah. Phoenix?
I was just going to say that I think, I guess, geekdom, like there's going to be more and more geeks, because with the increase of people, just everyone has to get with it, basically.
Right.
Technology is no longer a nerd thing. It's kind of an everybody thing now. So, along with,
Yeah, who doesn't know what Marvel is? I knew there was a time you said Marvel Comics. People, you don't even have to say Marvel Comics anymore. You just say Marvel.
Yeah.
And no one thinks of Marvel as in marvelous or like, oh, I marvel at. No, they automatically think of superheroes.
Yeah. And it's no longer a nerdy thing to be into Marvel comics. It's now like a mainstream thing. So I think it's going to be less of a subculture and more mainstream.
Yeah.
And shout out to DC. We still love you.
Yeah.
we love you till we see what you did with Black Adam.
And Batman. I really don't think Black Adam's going to, I don't know. I think it'll make a lot of money because The Rock is in it and the hype, but I don't know. Because they're so quiet about it, I would love for them to make like a ridiculous movie that's better than Superman, like everything that would be, I would be so happy for them to do that.
That'll be Constantine, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be Constantine.
You think they're going to make another Constantine?
Keanu Reeves said his favorite character to play. And he said if he could live as one of his characters, he would live as John Constantine. So, just putting that out there, I think he wants to do another Constantine movie.
Bring Constantine back. Make a live-action Constantine. Bring it back, baby.
But I like the Keanu Reeves Constantine.
You don't like the other Constantine? I think they both did an awesome job.
It's just because it was such a great movie, and for the time and the theme. I think if that came out first, I probably would feel different. But I just thought that was just a great movie. And it's such a great character. Constantine is a great character. Yeah, he's dark, he's light, he's everything in between. Like, if you stay true to the creation of the character, it's great. I think they could have went even darker. I want to see Keanu Reeves act more.
What do you mean? He's been acting.
No. I see what Michael's talking about. He wants to see something, not the whole John Wick franchise. He wants that suspense, that drama,
the emoting,
that darkness.
Like the thing with the two, what was it called again? Knock Knock?
Knock Knock.
I mean, I just had so much respect for him as an actor after seeing that. Like, okay, that's one.
Crazy.
Matrix is iconic. John Wick is iconic. Those are iconic characters, iconic films, iconic roles. You can have, but so is Rambo. But so is Rocky. Let's be real. Rocky is iconic. So is Terminator.
Okay.
But
nobody has more iconic roles than Keanu Reeves.
Wait. But understand my point. My point is,
more.
Just because those are iconic doesn't mean the acting was like, But when he did Knock Knock, I was like, yes, man. Yeah, imagine that. But you saw that in Constantine. Imagine that. But you saw it in Matrix. Now this Matrix, you see a little bit of Knock Knock. You see a little bit there. A little bit. You see sprinkles. There's another level to Neo, which was refreshing. It's not this one-dimensional thing through the whole thing. There's 1.5, almost 2, which I loved it. Keanu Reeves.
I got a question, Michael.
And we're almost out of time. Ask it real quick.
Without spoiling it.
Yep, you got 10 seconds.
What I said before you went to go see the movie is what happened at the film.
Yeah.
Oh, it was?
What happened?
The things I said that I predicted about the movie, was it what it was in the film?
I can't remember what you said.
We're in the show. We'll talk.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right, you're watching GEEKCASTER. We have run out of time, but please check us out if you're on GeekCaster.com. Love it. If you're watching a little clip on Instagram, wherever it is, if you're on cable, listen, check out Corey Davis, Dayveonne Bussey, and Phoenix Sparks, Michael Seven Michael, and look, we dig you. We thank you. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. And we're always going to bring you more. And we'll see what happens if there's going to be more cons.
I ain't got no festivities. I ain't got alcohol, but hey.
I'm calling it right now. 2022, virtual worlds are going to blow up. I think that's the next thing for geekdom.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.